It's your girl, Deja, the host of Black and Wild, the podcast. I hope you've all been having an enjoyable start to your spring. Lately, I've been focusing on incorporating walks into my weeks. I will take walking breaks during my lunch break. I've been trying to walk to and from work and incorporating walks even when I'm running errands around town. Luckily, I live in a town that's 4 by 4 miles, so I'm able to do that. But still, it's important, especially when I was recovering from the flu a couple weeks ago and I couldn't go on runs and really didn't have the stamina to do any of my other regular activities. Walking was a way for me to still get outside, get some vitamin D, and some fresh air. During a dinner a couple weeks ago with a friend, we talked about how walking is such an undervalued activity. It really is so beneficial for your mental and physical health. You don't have to do extreme sports to stay healthy and be in good shape. A simple walk can do wonders for you. Well, I hope after this episode you're feeling inspired to go for a walk around your neighborhood, whether that's right after this episode, maybe during this episode while you're listening to it, or just trying to be more thoughtful to get some walks in on a regular basis, even if you can't always do your regular activities. Maybe this becomes your regular activity. In this week's conversation, I have another talk with a new friend, Mr. Justin Campbell, aka Mr.JayCam of Equalized Outdoors. In this conversation, Justin shares his experience as a hunter who grew up in Virginia and how hunting is an important part of his life for many reasons, and the biggest being his mental health. In this conversation, Justin describes his journey to creating Equalized Outdoors and how being outside can be beneficial to everybody. It doesn't matter what form that you get outside. Whether you're a hunter, you know somebody who hunts, or is just curious about the ethics of hunting, you'll find this conversation enlightening and interesting. Let's get into it.
Dustin, thank you so much for being a guest on Black and Wild. I'm so excited to get to know you better and also be able to amplify the work that you're doing to make recreating outdoors more accessible, but also something that anyone can feel like that they can do. So before we jump into things, if you want to introduce yourself and share anything about yourself related to the theme of Black and Wild.
So first of all, thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm a fan. Like I saw your work, and I was like immediately. It was just very engaging. So thank you so much for having me. As far as me goes, my name is Justin, just Justin Campbell, but I go by Mr. J Cam. I'm the founder of Equalized Outdoors, but I was raised in the country part of Virginia. Yes, Virginia has country people. It's not the city. Like the northern part by DC is not the whole state. Come on down south and see us. So I just grew up doing things in the outdoors with my family, really big family guy. I'm a father, and that's the most important thing that I do in my life. But today I'm based in Texas, and Equalized Outdoors is a veteran-owned outdoor media platform. I'm focused on storytelling, authentic stories, educating people, and supporting conservation. So my goal is to help what we call level the playing field. I'm really big into music, hence the equalizer term. It's like a kind of like a play on words there. And we just ultimately want to make hunting in the outdoors more accessible and understanding for people, especially adult onset hunters or people that didn't have family members or anybody to kind of show them the ropes. We want to show you a more authentic version of the story that is not, it don't have to be Instagram perfect and polished all the time. So and in addition to that, the way we do that is we have the newsroom where we cover industry news, regulations, we'll review gear, hunts, field experiences, and we just try and make it relatable. I'm a big believer in the KISS principle. And yeah, that's the way that we do it. But we also keep culture into it, like we talk about music and things of that nature. And we just want everybody to be comfortable and be themselves and let everybody know that this is literally for everybody and we're happy to have you here. So again, thank you for having me on the podcast.
Awesome. Oh, can't wait to hear more about Equalized Outdoors. I have so many questions, but for Equalized Outdoors, are you also going to be leading group trips and excursions?
Eventually, I would love to get into that. I'm trying to work on the logistics piece of it right now because Main initial vision is I want to have like a fest, so to speak. Like they have other groups, but these festivals and outdoor gatherings are usually in places like, no disrespect. I mean, I hunt out west and stuff too, but they're normally places like Montana. I'm thinking somewhere more like Atlanta, somewhere more like Los Angeles, places with more culture and connections to urban areas so we can get that diverse group of people, new people in. We can have hands-on things. Like here coming up, I'm going to get a archery instructor certification to work with the Texas Parks and Wildlife as a volunteer. So I'm taking the steps. I just need to procure a place to do it, and that's step one. And then step two is eventually we want to get some groups together so we can get people to do like hunts and maybe partners with different organizations like Hunters of Color or Kinfolk Hunting or whoever it is to get people out and get hands-on experiences. That is in the plans for the future.
That's awesome. And you know, the thing, what I'm learning more about creating more accessibility to the outdoors is that it's not happening. You know, there's also the Black Skiers Association that I learned about when I started getting into skiing. However, I didn't know that was a thing. And like you said earlier in our pre-discussion, it's not that Black folks haven't been hunting, right? It's not that we haven't been in these spaces. We have been. It's just maybe it hasn't been safe to always advertise how what we're doing and how we're moving, but it's not that that hasn't happened before. It's not that there aren't groups or families or friends who are already organizing trips or being giving opportunities for folks to be able to try these different activities. So it's not that it's not happening, but I what I appreciate about your plans with Equalize Outdoors is that you're going to almost create a space, a foundation where folks can connect to these other opportunities in ways maybe they didn't have as easy access to in other ways. Can we rewind though and talk about your upbringing? Because I want to bring up a little bit more of what we touched on prior to us starting to record, and tell me a little bit more about your background, how you grew up, and when you first started getting into hunting.
But yeah, that's I mean, I'm blessed. I come from a pretty large family, especially on my mom's side. She's 16 of 16. I have seven uncles. We all lived in the same small town, and plus my grandfather. So they're always around. They did a really, really good job of just letting me kind of find my way. But they were like heroes to me, still are. And whatever they did, I wanted to do. So when they were tinkering around in the backyard shooting bows, sighting in rifles or whatever. And it was always something I wanted to do. I mean, I think I got my first BB gun. I was maybe around 5 years old, just started shooting paper with my uncle and my uncle Perry, my uncle Michael. We spent like so much time together because they one was retired already. Long story short, they got me into it, and it progressed. So eventually, I took that same BB guns, put it pellets in it, went small game hunting with my uncle Michael, my uncle Perry. We used to put a hurting on some squirrels, and but like I'm not even trying to like toot my own horn, but from a very early age, like I had, it was clear that I had some ability with marksmanship, and like that, it just never really went away. But then it progressed from there into deer hunting, but we do it a little bit different in Virginia. I don't know for if anybody knows what a deer drive is. Traditional deer hunting, you're on a tree, everybody thinks it's cold, it's lonely, you got to be super still, right? And it is those things. But the way we did it, it was basically a hunt club. So again, my uncles, everybody had dogs. It's maybe 10, might be 10 of us one day. Some days it might be 20 people if you count cousins and other guests. And basically, you line up in a row on the side. The dogs come this way. The deer are running. You got a shotgun. You got a zone, and you shoot them. And it's not. It's more interactive. It's more fun, um, and it's hard. And and then that was my first. That's the way I got my harvest. And my first deer was like that on the deer drive. I was probably maybe 12, and then it evolved because back then, I'm about to age myself a little bit. ESPN on Saturdays, or everybody else was watching cartoons. ESPN for me was ESPN was showing hunting shows. It was like all morning on Saturdays. So then I'm watching like the guys from Primos and whoever it was at that time, and they on the tree, they're rattling in these bucks, they got bows or whatever the case may be. And I was like, oh man, I want to do that. And again, my uncle, He's into it too. Like my those two uncles are really big hunters. The rest of them, my uncles kind of like the fishing guys, which we did a lot of fishing too on the river. The state of Virginia does such a great job providing access with that. So I mean, we had a fishing rod in my hand, but they got a lease on this farm in Northern Virginia, up in used to be in Loudoun County, not too far from DC, but not too far from where we were either. It's probably like a 2 hour drive. And we set up all the tree stands and stuff, and then we had a place to really like get after it. And it was all downhill from there. It was never nothing that I just never turned back from there, honestly.
Wow. How long, you said that your family lives in a small town. How long had they lived in that area? How many generations do you guys go back there?
Oh, whew. Okay, so my grandfather was born 1926. His grandfather was born well into the 1800s, and they lived there. So at least we're talking at least four now. Now that I have kids, like three or four generations at least.
Wow.
Yeah, super,
And
super small,
so it
located.
sounds like your family has been doing these group hunts before you even came along.
Oh,
This wasn't
way
something that was
before.
just
Yeah,
new.
that's what I'm saying. So like I just whenever they were hanging out or they was going to do something, I was just tagging along because on that same property there's like a cabin almost or like a house where everybody hang out. They call it the clubhouse. So I wasn't old enough to go in the woods and hunting with them, but I'll just be sitting there tossing around the football with the other cousins or other kids that happen to be there. And then they come back and you watching them dress the deer and skin the deer and you learning how to do all that stuff. So I was always just around it. But like I said, those guys were everything to me growing up. So whatever they did, like I just wanted to be a part of it. Like, and it just grew from there.
Wow. I I have to say that I also, I mean, I like I said, I'm from California, I'm from LA. And so growing up, one, my family wasn't outdoorsy at all, but two, I really didn't know many people who hunted. There was definitely there's a large fishing community down in Southern California, especially living so close to the coast. But I especially did not even think about, especially having grown up somewhere that's very different. It seems like from how you grew up. Um, I didn't know that people who look like me also hunted. It always seemed like because again, that's not very it's not advertised very much, especially what you're seeing in Hollywood on TV and movies. It's not something that's known. And as you were describing it, I thought, well, that makes sense. It's not as if people who are people of color, especially Black folks, haven't lived in these areas before. And so I'm like, well, how else were you probably getting food or just being able to spend time together? It sounds like something that is a part of your guys' lifestyle almost is included in hunting.
Yeah, I mean, especially before my generation, like you just said it, they didn't have a choice. Like it was either you raise cattle or you raise pigs or something like that, or you went out and got it from the land. So,
Right.
and that they really had to do that, and that tradition just kind of like carried on, like the hard work and all that stuff. Like I'm really blessed to have had the family and to have the family that I do in my life to learn from, because I mean they really like set the standard for me, to be honest with you. And like you saying, like you're not, you don't, it's not advertised, you're not aware of it. Like I did some market research when I started Equalized Outdoors. What I came up with was 3.5% of all hunters are African American men and women, 2.5% men, and less than a percent, about a percent of women, right? But of that 3.5%, 95% of them are in the Southeast. So when people out west are surprised, like it doesn't surprise me because
Yeah.
it's such a regional concentration. Because like I told you, but in the pre-show, I thought it was normal until I left and I joined the military. I left that out in the bio maybe, but the first place they sent me to was Seoul, South Korea. I'm 18 years old. I'm from a super small town in Virginia, and now I'm basically in Korea's version of New York City. You talk
Right.
about culture shock. I'm like, whoa. But more
Wow.
people were more interested in me. Like, hey, who is this country dude? Like, people are like, man, what? Huh? I'm like, oh, y'all don't do this? No. That's like I can't tell you how many times like my other black homies have called me like, man, you was a country bumpkin guy. Like your country self, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I am a little bit different. Like I just thought it was normal though. Like because where I went to school, everybody was country. Like On the first day of school, when the hunting season used to open during the week, nobody was going to school. Like the school was a ghost town. That's why Virginia moved it to a Saturday permanently. It opens on the third Saturday of November now every year. We weren't going to school. Like this school was empty. So yeah,
Wow.
it was just like a part of it for me. It's not even something I thought about until like we talked about in the pre-show until afterwards. I was like, oh,
Wow. I I mean, it just hearing your experience reminds me of why it's so important to build community, to meet people from different backgrounds that come from different places than how you grew up. Because of course, yeah, when you're a child, there are so many things you think is normal. You think everybody's families do those things, and that's why I wanted to start this channel too, is just to hear other people's experiences, but also see how we have these commonalities that I think everyone emphasizes so much of what makes us different nowadays rather than connecting with how much we have in common. But you describing the start of the hunting season, that's kind of like here, but it's ski week here. And so during the
it's
ski
I'm
season,
sorry. It
if
was you said
it's
it's what here? Ski week?
ski week,
Okay.
yes. Yeah. So they do, and I guess Southern California kids do that too. Not when I was growing up, at least not in my communities, but here the lifestyle is based a lot around the ski season, the winter season, and once we get a good storm, it's like that everything kind of shuts down and we focus more on that. And throughout the whole school year, kids are going, instead of doing PE, they get to go ski on Mammoth Mountain in the
Oh
afternoons.
no, that's dope.
And that's built into their curriculum. But it's
That's
just,
so fire.
you're reminding me of that depending on where people grow up and what is a part of that community's culture, that the whole town's lifestyle, that community's lifestyle is built around those activities, because that's not just what they do for fun. It's literally a part of their lives. It's a part of their culture. It's almost a part of their identity. So you are just blowing my mind while also thinking, well, that makes sense given where you grew up and what that was like for you. Can you tell me a little bit more about just the town you grew up in? Is it fairly diverse or is it predominantly African Americans?
It's like it's rare. It's kind of like 50-50 to be honest with you. I mean, it's kind of like 50-50, but it's like
Okay.
when I say small town, like it's one of those towns like you walk around there, they be like, "Oh, you one of them Campbells, ain't you?" Like they may not know exactly which one I am, but like people will recognize me. Like my babysitter was the is the ended up being the assistant principal at my high school, right? I'm talking about like everybody knows everybody, and it's only like 3 or 4 families. Like it was like 2 white families and pretty much us and another black family. And I mean, that was pretty much it. It was some more people, the population starting to grow and expand. But like during our time and going back to the whole like not knowing stuff, this is before the internet. So it's like we really are in this bubble. Like you really thought that that was what the world was. And I mean, like, so I've
Mm,
been going to school with the way it's split is weird because it's almost like east and west because like there's only two
mm,
elementary schools. So like my elementary school was predominantly African American, and then the other one is predominantly Caucasian, right? But then once we all go to middle school, it's right split right down the middle because it's only one middle school and one high school after that.
wow.
Yeah, so I mean, so it really just depends on whether you're on the east side or the west side. But as far as like the town itself, there's one grocery store, there's 2 stoplights, one bridge over the railroad tracks. Like it's not, that's it. It's one light in and out. Like it doesn't last too long. And then you go like what you would call outside of town into the country where there's more houses and stuff. But like most people don't, you don't even like see your neighbor's house. Like most people have acreages and trees or like you can smell the manure, like you know when the pigs are out there or when they farming or whatever. So it's kind of like that.
Wow.
So it tickles me looking at the internet and stuff today, and people are always saying how Virginia isn't the South. I'm like, no, you just haven't been to Virginia that doesn't touch the Potomac River. Like you think of Virginia as DC. Like the DMV is not Virginia. It's a different place. And I'm going to tell that story as many times as I can for people to understand that. Like Richmond was the capital of the Confederacy, and you want to tell me Virginia's not the South? How does that make sense?
Mm, mm, yep. Well, I think too, it's just unless people are doing the work to further educate themselves on an area or even just looking at a map. I've been amazed at how many times people lack some simple knowledge that doesn't take much, but unless you're making an effort to learn a little bit more, then yeah, they're only going to pay attention to what they hear of on TV or what's being more so advertised.
Yeah.
Um, I'm surprised that you've heard that because I always thought Virginia was part of the South, but
Oh, I
that's
can
just
literally pull
why.
up I can really pull up X, Twitter, whatever it's called right now,
Yeah,
and show it scroll for a long time with me arguing back and forth with people about it,
that's
especially on
crazy.
threads like Instagram's version. Like that seems to be like the theme of the week for the last couple of weeks.
Wow.
So, yeah, they really think that, and I don't know where that came from, but I'm here to tell you all it's not the case.
Wow. Have you, does your family ever, or did when you were growing up, or have you done this as an adult, hunted in other areas other than in your community where you were growing up?
Okay, so my family, no. This is where me and them kind of diverge because I guess it's because I'm younger. I'm more apt to lean into technology, but I've always been really, really curious about other things. So yes, I'm hunted in other states, especially lately with the advent of the internet. I've been able to connect with so many hunters that look like myself. Like I had a good buddy in North Carolina, had a black guy, he's one of my best friends. He hosts a podcast that's really dope. He used to live in South Dakota, but he's back. He's here in Texas now. So I mean, I got a guy in Missouri. My buddy's in Missouri. There's one in Kentucky. I mean, I've if I can put gas in the truck and I'm going. Like I'm going, especially this time of year when it's turkey season right now. So yes, I've hunted in a few different states, few different places, and I absolutely enjoy it. The varying landscapes is one of the things that I like the most about it because like yeah you get comfortable if you have a place you've been going to like such as myself. I'm lucky enough to have to still have that same family property that we go hunt on. Like I took my son on his first deer hunt in 2023 and we were able to harvest a deer together on my fam grandpa's property on Thanksgiving morning in 2023. My son was maybe 5, about to turn 6 at the time, so I'm really blessed in that respect. And but I like to challenge myself and I like to learn new areas, and I try to hunt public land as much as possible because I really, really like the challenge of everything. So, I mean, I have so many places like on my list that I still haven't gotten to go to, but that is a really, really big part of it for me.
Interesting. And what has that experience been like for you hunting in different places? Have you come encountered anybody who has made that experience uncomfortable or difficult for you? Have you experienced any discrimination?
I'm going to say, for the most part, the discrimination, I'll just get that out of there. Like, as far as people saying stuff, it's always all online. Online only is where you're going to hear people chirping the most at like they're going to have something to say. That's why I don't really post to kids too much these days because I don't really want to you say something crazy about one of my children, buddy. Like that's one way to get me out of character. um but we have long hair. You can't tell today because it's in a ponytail. Me and my son, we both have long hair, so people try to give us a little grief about that. But as far as in person, not really. I mean, not in the woods anyway. Most people are super helpful and they just like, hey, if you're out here and I'm out here, you clearly like the same things. But I'll say that with a caveat because I was talking to my buddy. I forgot about Keon. He's over there. He's a manager at Sitka Atlanta. But he's not, his stature is not the same as mine. Let me just say that. He said his experience is a little different if you would have asked him that question. And I won't tell his story, but he told me it's basically, hey, look at you. Like you are 6'4", almost 6'5", 250 some pounds. Who is running up on you to say something crazy to you in person? And
Right.
so I was like, you know what? Are you telling me I have size privilege? She was like, basically. And then at NWTF, I was talking to a guy from Mossy Oak, and he was like, "Man, ain't nobody worry about these people. Let them wait." He was like, "They got an attitude." He's like, "It's gonna be a short fight. You got to be crazy to try and walk up on you two guys and start something. You see how big y'all are." So maybe that's why nobody says it in person. I don't know. So I'm not gonna say that it don't exist, but it just hasn't happened to me. And my own friends are telling me that's the reason why. I'm
Well, I'm glad to hear that 'cause I was curious getting out of your community where it's fairly normal to see someone who looks like you hunting and recreating and outdoors. I was curious about what it's been like for you in other places where maybe that's not as common, but I'm
But
glad that you
see,
haven't
that's the
experienced
other
that.
caveat too. Like I do have to say, I pretty much still remember 95% of us are in the Southeast. So in the
Right.
Southeast, it's still not that uncommon. Now, I haven't had anything happen out west, but you can tell that like people are surprised. It's not that they've done anything negative. They just be like, I'll never forget walking into a McDonald's in Idaho for the first time.
Oh gosh.
And it was somewhere near Interstate 90. I think I was had to be close to the Washington border. Spokane was like the final destination, I believe.
I wonder if it was like near Coeur d'Alene.
I cannot remember the
Okay.
name of the town, but I know it was off 90 or 94, not too far from the border with Washington State. And man, it was like time stood still when I went in there. You could have heard a pin drop in that place. But that wasn't like hunting in the woods and nobody said
Right.
anything. But like I get it. It's like, oh wow. But no, thankfully, so far, no issues.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. And you said you have family members that you're you and friends of your family that you're used to seeing hunting, but other than that, did you have you seen any other representation in those kinds of activities, or whether that's in the media, online, Hollywood, movies, things of that sort? Have you seen any other examples of someone who looks like you who is participating in those kinds of sports?
Growing up, not a lot. But the weird thing was when I did see it, it's like, and I bring this up to people all the time. Fishing, it's like nobody bats an eye, right? Like there's always been like there's a guy out in California out your way named Ish Monroe, pretty good bass fisherman, like I mean, a legend in the sport, right? Like so I remember seeing him on TV growing up fishing Bass Masters. He fished Major League Fishing a little bit, which is a different organized. It's like pretty much like the NBA. They got two versions for pro fishing. So I remember seeing him, Brian Latimer, Mark Daniels Jr. It's always been guys in fishing, and nobody thinks twice about it. But when it comes to hunting, it's like zero representation at all. You don't see anybody on the TV. You hardly see them in a magazine. And when I do see it, I take note of the company because like them going out of their way to include that really tells me a lot, and I try to support them if I can. Like I remember like even Meat Eater, right? The
Hmm.
first time I saw a black guy on Meat Eater, it's another legend in the fishing world, Mr. Alvin Dedeaux out of South Texas in the Austin area, runs a fishing guide service, guy with dreadlocks. But they didn't put him on the main show. It was like a side show on the YouTube channel. It wasn't on the
Wow.
main Meat Eater episode the first time. But I do
Wow.
believe another episode aired and they did some pig hunting. And that was the first time I saw a black guy hunting on a major TV show back when Meat Eater was still on Netflix. It was Alvin Dedeaux. And other than that, I'm really thinking, like trying to think about it because no, the answer is just no. And if you listen to a lot of the podcasts from us in the hunting spaces, most of us made the decision to get into doing this, like making content, like for a similar reason. Like most of us have the same story because
Hmm.
we didn't see it, even though we are here. And it's like, come on, like, what is this? Like, why not?
Well, can you elaborate on that further of how did you grew up with a family that hunted regularly, that was a part of your lifestyle. And so when that shift started to happen where you started to realize not everybody grew up the way that you did, how did that transition into you creating Equalized Outdoors?
You know
And why did you
what?
create it?
It transitioned because like there was a part of time, like especially in the military, where I just didn't do it that much because like I honestly kind of got tired of explaining it or whatever the case may be, and then just being busy working. But then when I got out of the military, it was like, man, what now? Like, what am I going to do? Like that was such a part of who I was for like the last 9 years, and now it's just like kind of just like Justin again, I guess, so to speak. And so I leaned heavily back into the outdoors, picked up the bow. again and started shooting and just fishing, fishing, fishing. And I noticed like, man, you know what? Like I feel better. Like this is great. And the real last push came from my children. They were said literally what we were just talking about. One day we were fishing and I had my camera out. Like I was already starting to make some content or stuff. But I caught this really nice smallmouth bass on the Appomattox River in Virginia, and the kids were there. And it was like, "Good dad, you were really good at fishing. Like, why aren't you on TV? How come we don't see anybody like us that look when we watch Outdoor Network at home?" And I said, that is
Mm.
a really, really good question. And ever since then, like, I just said, hey, I'm gonna make it my mission to find other people, tell their stories, record them, and post them. Like I have a fishing when the fishing season rolls around. I have this little series called From the Borough to the Bay. My best friend is a city guy from Queens, New York. Never went fishing a day in his life. I took him out on the boat, taught him how to bass fish and catch bass. Like that video, like that's one of the stories that I wanted to tell. Like this guy's from Queens, New York, and here I got him out here. He was like, "Oh, you know what?" And afterwards, because he was kind of like, "Man, what? Huh?" He would kind of like poke fun, like, "Oh, you country." But now he's like, "You know what, man? It was one of the best days I ever had. Like that was so fun." And so the kids were the final straw. So I just invested in the equipment, like really put my head down into it because I already knew how to kind of work a camera. From I had a motorsports channel with me and my motorcycle, recording and doing stuff with that. So like I've used to record and do a little bit of music too, but we're not gonna talk about that here today. But I've always had this creative part of me and the camera and storytelling, and I've always been able to write. This gave me an outlet, but it's not about me. It's about I don't want people to be shocked or be surprised when they hear about people doing these things, right? It's just like when I discovered your channel and I was like, wait, is that black people at the ski resort? Like I've always wanted to go do that, but I didn't know anybody else really besides one guy in Colorado that did it. And then I'm watching your channel and I'm seeing that you're on the ski lift and you having like the time of your life. Like I don't think I've ever clicked the follow button faster than when I discovered your channel. Browsing through Instagram that day. I'm glad that the algorithm made you pop up.
Me too. Well, can we rewind a little bit? You had touched
Hmm.
on when, and I appreciate you giving me more context as to how Equalized Outdoors came to be. But I was curious, you had mentioned on Saturday mornings that you used to also watch ESPN and, just watch some of other shows that were based around hunting. Did you ever ask your family why you weren't seeing people who looked like you? Did that come up for you? Like just like the same question your kids asked you, like, why aren't we on TV? Why don't I not seeing people who look like us on television doing the same things that we're doing in our free time? Did that come up for you when you were younger?
It didn't really strike me when I was younger because, again, this is where I go back to me and my family diverge. A lot of they don't care about the technology. They just not interested in that part of it. Like my uncle's like, I can't get them to be on camera for a hunt to this day. They just won't do it. It's just not something that they were into, right? So I'm thinking at that point in time that, hey, maybe it's just because people just don't want to do it. You know what I mean? Not that we weren't really given the opportunity. I didn't put it together like my kids did. You know what I'm saying? Like at that age, what was going on. That part came a little bit later for me, especially once I
Mm.
started noticing the difference between the fishing content and the hunting content. Like I didn't have to look
Mm.
far to find somebody that looked like me in the fishing world. You know what I mean? But so it came later for me, to be honest. Like these new kids, they got information. They grew up with computers in their hand. Like they gonna ask the question. So like that really kind of blew me away with that. So no, I really didn't ask that at first. I mean, subconsciously I always thought it maybe, but I just really assumed that, hey, country people, we don't really want to deal with all this stuff because that's how
Mm.
my family was. But
Not everyone's like that. Yeah.
I'm telling you, like
Well,
these jokers, like they will not listen to me like for nothing. Like the last time me and my uncles went fishing in Virginia, right? Like they do not believe in artificial lures, like plastic worms and stuff. They do not believe in it. They cannot believe that I catch fish like that. So I took them to one of my spots in Virginia. We trying to catch some crappie. So it's called jigging. Do I have my? No, it's not right there. It's in the truck. You put these little jig heads on with these little miniature plastic worms. And I'm talking about you can catch 25 a day. I'm probably like fish 15. Uncle one and two. Zero, zero. And they both using live bait. So I was like, you sure you don't want to try this? So I finally got him to take my pole. As soon as he dropped the pole in the water, not 30 seconds, you've caught a fish. He was like, all right, nephew, you got me. Tie me up. Like, put me some of them things on there. And then he started catching fish. So that's just how reluctant they are, like, to doing things, just to give you some context, right?
Oh,
Like,
it's so funny. Wow.
yeah,
Do
no,
you, I mean, do they look at you with, using new technology, especially as, I mean, things are evolving, right? With us having these advances in technology, I can only imagine how that's been impacting folks in the hunting world. And so, have they looked at you thinking that that's not sacrilege because
I'm
you're
telling you, they
doing
look at me
something
like
that's
I'm an
not as
alien.
natural?
They always telling me like, "Hey, you don't need none of that stuff." Back in my day, or we didn't have
Back
to
in
do
my
this.
day,
I was like, "Okay, well, how come I'm out
right?
here? I'm got it done. I punched two tags this year. How many you got? None? Oh, okay. Because like you see my bow hanging up behind me, and remember I told
Hmm.
you earlier, I'm a pretty good marksman. I don't rarely hunt with a rifle these days because it didn't feel like hunting. If you're in my crosshairs and I squeeze that trigger, I'm going to make the shot. It's rare that I miss. It does
Mm,
happen. I'm not perfect, but I
right.
mean, like, it's not even like a thought. Like, I remember the last one that I did. Like, I didn't, there was no nerves, there was no nothing. It was just like, okay, it's just another day of squeezing the trigger at something. And I didn't like how
Mm,
that made me feel. Compared that to the first time when I had a doe walking at, I'm talking about a female deer walking at like 20, what was it, like 27 yards? I was shaking so bad, like I completely blew the shot and missed. Complete, like I got so excited. It was something I hadn't felt in a long time. And my uncles, them, they still want to use like old school stuff. I'm like, oh, we don't have to do that anymore. Like that's a better way. And if they ever see this, man, they're gonna tear me up. But y'all know I'm telling the truth.
so you find that balance then between, okay, this is the way it's always been done. It's worked for us this long. Why do we need to change anything? And also trying to take advantage of these advances that have been made in hunting and using them to your benefit. Like, how do you, while still getting those feelings, like you said, that you enjoy about the sport, how do you balance that?
For me, it's if it to me, it really comes down to a simple thing. Does if I use this, is my participation still challenging? Now, some people would say you have a modern compound bow, right? Like, how is that challenging? Because I still limit myself. Like at a whitetail deer, they have to be inside of 30 yards, and I prefer them 25, even 20 or closer.
Mhm.
Um, yes, I can shoot my bow 100 yards. Would I do that on a live animal? Never in a day. They are too fast. They have reflexes. So yes, this bow is a little bit easier than the first one that I had that had aluminum arrows, which was a hand-me-down from my uncle. But it's still challenging. You still got to play the wind right. You still got to get in the right position. You still got to do the
Mhm.
work to scout.
Mhm.
And like something like Onyx, right? Which is, are you familiar with Onyx?
No.
Okay, so Onyx Hunt is a mapping platform where it shows you a map of, I mean, literally the whole country in Canada, and you can drop a pin on it. It'll tell you who owns the land, how to where they are, like if you want to like go and get permission from them to hunt their property. But even
Wow.
public land, it shows you the boundaries, and it's a topographic map which shows you the terrain features, so elevation changes, where water is, this, that, and the third. Whereas before, you would have to go into the woods to get that information, or look at an old school paper map, right, and plot it out like such. So yes, on X Maps makes it easier, but that's not going to kill. That's not going to make me successful. I still have to
Right.
know what I'm looking for. I still have to
Mhm.
go out there and verify the information at times from what I'm gaining. It's just allowing me to cover a lot more ground a little bit faster. I mean, not a little bit, a lot faster than it could be by going boots on ground. Like I don't have to drive from Texas to Colorado to scout my elk hunting spot anymore because I can pull it up on
Mhm.
a map in front of me on my computer. And if you have Apple CarPlay, when I plug in my phone and I put that pin out there, it'll give me driving directions and it comes up on my dashboard in the truck. So
Wow.
something like that, it's a tool. It makes it easier,
Right.
but it's not, I still have to execute and do my part too. So for me, it's about the challenge of it, right? Like I wrote an article about long range hunting, talking about rifle hunting. Some of these new bullet technologies, these people are making shots that like used to be almost unheard of. They're like almost routine. But my biggest thing is about hunters. We operate off of a lot of the rules are based off what's called fair chase. You have to give
Hmm.
the animal an opportunity, and that's big to me. So, like, yes, I can shoot a rifle 800 yards, but is that fair to that animal that never even had a chance to smell me? They didn't know that I was there in the first
Mm,
place. To me, that's against the spirit of what I believe in. Now, if it's legal and you're
mm,
proficient, do what you want. I'm not trying to put restrictions on anyone. However, that you asked me about why how I draw that line, and that's kind of why I'm so into the bow because a white-tailed deer can smell, what is it? They say 60 times better than a human. I mean, like,
mm.
I have long hair. Like, when January comes around, my hair is a mess. It's almost like de facto dreadlocks because I can't use scented shampoos. I can't use the conditioner and do my normal routine. I know from when October comes, like, if I wash my hair, I got to take basically like a week off. And so it's like, things like that, or like some of the things I don't think people think about what goes into it. But you're literally
Mm,
think about this. I have to take this bow, draw it back, do all that movement, climb a tree, or
mhm,
hide myself on the ground, be in the right direction with the right wind at the right time. So many things have to come together
mm.
and remaining undetected. That is that challenge for me, and that's the part that like I absolutely live for. And yeah, certain things like Onyx what makes it easier, but it doesn't remove the human element from it. Now, if you ask me about these people that are using drones, I think they should be absolutely banned from the hunting space because I don't believe that's fair chase for the animal.
Makes very good points. I have a feeling someone might challenge you on maybe what equipment you were using, but I figured I'd let you
Oh
elaborate on
yeah, they
that
will.
further.
1,000%. They absolutely will.
Well, and everyone's going to have their own, I guess what their scruples are, right? As far as for them, what they think is the right way to go about fishing or hunting deer, etc. And so to each their own, but thank you for sharing that with me because it sounds like you're utilizing the resources to, like, why not, right? Work smarter, not harder kind of thing. However, while still trying to stay true to the essence of the sport and um it sounds more natural almost in a way in the way that you're trying to go about it, right? Like, yeah, you could cheat, but you don't need to do that. It's not that takes the fun out of it.
And you know what? And you know what it really comes down to, if I may, is that I think we as hunters have a common misconception that we're just a bunch of people out there obsessed with killing and doing all
Yeah.
of this stuff. And that is
Yeah.
not the case for most of us. Are there some people like that? Absolutely. And they make it harder for all of us. But first and foremost, I'm a conservationist. Like I love the resource. I love the game. And people think that's crazy. If you love it so much, then how can you take its life? I'm like, don't you love that chicken on your plate? It was
Right.
alive. It had to come from somewhere. You know what I mean? So unless you're a vegan or vegetarian, then I'm not talking
Yeah.
about you. But first of all, it's a real love for the resource. Like that's why it's important to do it the right way. I don't want to eradicate the population. That's why like we sell apparel on our website, but 2.5% of all sales, not just profit, like I donate to a conservation organization and it rotates. I'll pick a different one, but that's a
Okay.
part of it, like giving back. So organizations like NWTF, which I'm a member of, that's the National Wild Turkey Federation, just had the big old convention, the annual convention in Nashville. You'll see some reporting in our newsroom there on that. The Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation to improve the habitat. They've relocated elk in places like my home state of Virginia,
Mm,
Kentucky, Tennessee, where elk used to be all over the country, but those funds go to good use. So we're not just obsessed with with killing. And again, that's that fair chase. And that's why you have certain rules in place. Like we have an organization called the Pope and Young, and then there's the Boone and Crockett Club. These are where you basically keep records. Pope and Young is for archery only. Boone and Crockett is for the rifle hunters, and I believe archery stuff is allowed. But I bring that up because they have what's called a fair chase standards per each of these organizations. So If you want your harvest, because I'm explaining it for the people that don't know, they measure the antler sizes, right? So like 200 inches, a 200-inch deer, when all the points and beams, if you measure it up and it's 200 inches or greater, I mean, that's
Mm,
like once in a generation, once in a lifetime stuff. Like, it just don't happen that often. Like 120 is more common, right? So I mean, we're talking about it just doesn't happen that often. But if you did something to harvest that animal and that goes against what they deem as fair chase, that you won't get in that record book 200 inches or not. Like it's a strict standard that so it's not just me and my personal beliefs when it comes to this fair chase. So the people can argue with me all they want. If you really go and do the research, like there has been stuff that has been disallowed because, oh, you shot that elk from 500 yards away or however long it was. Yeah, that's
mm.
nice, but that's not our version of fair chase. So you won't be in our record book.
Well, I am learning so much. It's quite the rabbit hole to go down. Um, you're just making me think that we're gonna need to collaborate. I think we should do some kind of even if it's like a weekend where one day I take you and do a sport with me, and then you take me and you take me hunting or something. I think
I'm down.
we should like take each other out of each other's elements
I
and kind
am
of give each
down.
other some insight into our own sports and activities.
I am definitely with it. I just told you I took my buddy from Queens out there fishing, so that's already
That's what I
something
was
I'm about.
thinking.
But I don't
I'm
really get
inspired.
to, I haven't been able to, nobody's done it to me in reverse, and I would
Yes,
absolutely be open to that.
let's do it. Well, can you touch on a little bit more of what folks can find on your website? There are a lot of different websites out there, especially nowadays. Everybody's got a website for something, but what can be gained from accessing information on equalizedoutdoors.com?
Okay, so that's a very good question. First of all, like the hub for our webpage, number one, you can find our mission statement, who we are, what we're all about. That's there. And then you have the newsroom, which is literal, like independent journalism. This is where you can learn about rules from your different states. We teach you about
Mm,
you never hunted before. Most people don't think you can go to the store, buy a hunt license, and get out there. For some species, you can do that, but there's what
yeah.
they have an application period in the draws. So we have articles about the dates, how to obtain the tags, what you need to have. So it's educational from that standpoint. And then we have a link to our YouTube channel where video is more your media. I have what's a series called Mastering with Equalized Outdoors. Mastering is how you make in music, you make the final adjustments to the song. So you really like make the
Hmm.
song perfect and you learn about all the different parts that make the song together. You master it, you mix it all together. So mastering in this sense is again an analogy, but it's how to go buy a bow at the bow shop. What type of questions do you need to ask the tech? So you got educational content on there.
Wow.
Then you have all this wild game. I got a series called Friday Night Bites. Again, it's an analogy. You might have heard of Friday Night Lights, Texas classic high school football movie. So I took a
Hmm.
twist on that Friday Night Bites. I'll show you how to cook the game and how to do it and the different things that you can do besides just grinding it up and
Mm,
making tacos. So that's on there on the YouTube segment. I have shorts that we have a segment called a brief where I talk about policy changes and things that we need to vote on, what senators trying to sell off your favorite state park and how you can impact that and how you can change that. And the
mm,
brief is because it's short, it's to the point. Hey, this is what's going on. Here's what you can do about it if you want to. And that's written as well in the newsroom, have all the different categories. And then I have
mm,
a gear tab for what I'm using, what we use for new people that may be coming in.
mm,
You have no idea what's a broadhead, what do I need, what's a release for archery. You can learn about it that way. And again, I go through all that stuff on the website, how to sharpen your equipment, how to take care of it, how to
yes.
procure it, all of that stuff. And then um, also the other part of Equalized Outdoors and the storytelling is we do production. We're a production company too. So if you want to be filmed, you have a story you want to tell, you need a cameraman, camera crew, you need somebody to help you edit, you can hire us. That's available. All of that is explained on the website. And then we have the apparel. Again, I'm a vet and veteran suicide initiatives are something that's really, really important to me. Been impacted by that personally. So I just sell some of the apparel to reinvest back into the channel. People can support if they want to. You don't have to. Like I said, 2.5% to conservation, 2.5% to veteran suicide prevention organization, because that's something that's really important to me. But if you don't come to Equalize Outdoors for one thing, you can just come to learn. You can come to be entertained. And that's really what it's all about, because we don't really have a hub like that, because it's not only the TV, it's the magazines, and we all have a podcast these days, and like this one, but we don't have like print media anymore, and there's
Mhm.
nobody telling a story from that angle. So I kind of leaned into it that way intentionally.
Yeah, no, just as I kind of scrolled through your website and even just the content that you post on Instagram. It's usually how I'm absorbing information. But from there, I'll hear about a topic and then I want to dive deeper. And so that's when I usually will look for a website or articles. And even with somebody who does not hunt regularly, other than having fish before, even I found your content really informative and interesting. And
Thank you.
it makes it feel as if it's something that's not unattainable for me, right? It's something that it seems like if it's something I want to explore, you have information on there that is making it accessible for somebody who is curious about like turkey hunting and how to get into that. So I just want to say thank you for that because like you said, especially nowadays, that's information isn't easily attainable. It's something that, unless you know where to look, it's not always easy to find. And it's nice to have it all in one place. Because honestly, I don't think many folks even know where to begin. I remember when I was working with the Park Service, and we'd have a lot of folks working the Park Service in Yosemite and Devil's Post Pile in the Eastern Sierra Nevada, but there would be certain periods of time where you could hunt bears. And I never forget having to learn the laws of the area and understand, okay, well, if somebody is going to be carrying this carcass essentially through the national park land, what are the parameters as far as what they have to do on how they're carrying out that bear, but also what kind of equipment are they allowed to have with them? Are they allowed to have a firearm, etc.? So it was really interesting to me, but I thought, I don't know if the average person even knows about that, let alone where to begin if that's something that they want to explore as an option. So I don't know if you have any of that information, but just an idea that you could include on the website. I think you have quite a bit on there, and it seems like you're trying to be as inclusive as possible of the different types of hunting that takes place. But I just wanted to say, even as somebody who's not actively participating in those activities, even for me, it was the information was very digestible and even just interesting, even if it's something I may not ever do. It was
Thank you so
still
much. I
entertaining.
appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so
And
much.
also like you kind of remind me of like, do you know who Salema Masakela is?
I do not.
Okay, so I just listened to his episode. There's a podcast called The Bomb Hole. It's a snowboarding podcast. And he's kind of the voice of action sports. You've probably seen him and didn't even know who he was, but essentially he has been a commentator for X Games, so snowboarding and skateboarding. He's also a black surfer as well. But anyways, I I have heard people say that and you remind me a lot of him when you speak and the way you're describing things is because he's gotten so popular. He's been around in the action
Oh, yeah, I
sports.
definitely know his
Um,
face. Yes. Okay.
yeah, okay. I was like, I'm sure you've seen him, but maybe I didn't know his name.
Yep.
Because I had seen him for a long time, and I was like, I don't really know who this guy is, but I recognize him whenever I've seen
As soon as
anything
you
about
said X
skateboarding.
Games, I had to go look. Yeah. Yep.
Yes,
Hmm.
and but I think that you're a great orator in the sense that the way that you're describing things, it doesn't sound like you're talking down to me, or just even the audience in general when you're describing these different tools that you've used or how you go about conducting your hunts.
Thank you so
I feel like
much.
I'm able to picture, I'm like in the moment with you. It almost feels like I'm seeing what you're describing. So I just want to say thank you for your approach on how you're making this information accessible, but also easily digestible. And you're still using some of the terminology while also making sure that you're providing descriptions or definitions for things that maybe not everybody is aware of. So thank you for what you're doing. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. That's amazing. I'm happy that you feel that way. I'm still getting used to this part. It's like she talking about me, like but like no, in all seriousness though, that's really what it's about because not only is it you can get information from so many places, but we talked about this in pre-show. I feel like even me as somebody that's in the I gotta say it in the industry, um, I read some of their stuff that's supposed to be geared towards a beginner, but the foundation is like still levels above like true ground level. It's like they
Right.
assume that certain things are known, and that's often not the case, especially for our demographic. So that's really like what I want to key in on is keeping it simple so everybody can understand, but not in a demeaning way. It's
Exactly.
really I want to help you get that foundation and then we can build it up because I've literally lived this experience. Like I could have just stayed in the bubble of what my family did and what they're comfortable with, but like they gave me the start and I'm grateful for it. But I was just yearning and thirsty and wanted to learn more. I've always been so curious and I had to go through learning this stuff. And
Yeah.
this was before a lot of it was on YouTube and you had to like get
Mm-hmm.
magazine subscriptions and read all this stuff and try to figure out what people were talking
Mm,
about. Google wasn't always like what it is today either. And so
yeah,
I've been through it. And so I want to just try and shorten that learning curve as much as possible for anybody
definitely.
that could be interested.
Definitely. Well, what would you say to someone who is listening to our conversation and thinking, first of all, I didn't know that Black folks hunted and they'll known avidly, but also this is something I might want to try. What would you say to those folks who are maybe feeling a little apprehensive because they're not seeing that representation, or this is the first time they're hearing somebody else who looks like them but is well versed in these topics and they're curious now about checking out your website and maybe starting to explore fishing or hunting, whatever that ends up, unfolding into. What would you say to those folks who want to try for the first time?
The very first thing I would say is to get your hunter's safety education because it's mandatory anyway. That's the first step for everybody, no matter what. There's also bow hunter safety education that's mandatory in certain states. So, first of all, do that. They have an option that's online. You can Google that. But if you can, go to one of the in-person classes. That's often an opportunity to kind of like network with other like-minded people, maybe find a mentor, but the instructor is a good resource and you can ask questions and get that live feedback that you just can't get from the computer screen. So that's number one, first step. Number two, check out your state's version of Parks and Wildlife. You might hear it
Mm-hmm.
called DNR, the Department of Natural Resources, or what is it in Virginia? Department of Game, Fish, and Wildlife. It's whatever acronym it is. Every state has a governing body where you can learn the rules, to find out the seasons. That's one, and that's two. And then three,
Mm-hmm.
come to equalizedoutdoors.com, go to YouTube, find somebody, read an article. It's out
Mm-hmm.
there. It don't have to be us, but there's plenty of us. And if you have a question, send me a DM, follow us on Instagram. We will get back to you. We'll answer as many questions. There's no stupid questions whatsoever in this space. We don't allow for that. And then don't read so much. This is the most important thing. Just do it. Try. Make
Mm-hmm.
the mistakes. The mistakes and learn it are going to, no matter what I teach you, what I tell you, when you get out there and you do it and you go
Mm-hmm.
through it and you make those mistakes, that's going to be so
Mm-hmm.
much more beneficial to you. But I'll say
Mm-hmm.
one more thing. I got a good buddy, Brandon Dale in New York. If you're in the New York area, look up Kinfolk Hunting Collective. They did a waterfowl 101. I reported on that on the Equalized Outdoors website. They take you to what is a duck to how to go duck hunting and
Wow.
legally in the New York area in that webinar. We got a link to it on our page. They have a turkey camp coming up where they have mentors. You get one-on-one, maybe 2-to-1 guidance from an experienced hunter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And literally take you to the field from the process of harvesting it. They show you how to butcher it, how to cook it live in person, like and have a camp for a week or 3, 4 days. They do that for archery, deer hunting. And then you have hunters of color, which is another group, similar things. Your state should have a chapter. I know we have one here in Texas. So many
Wow.
resources out there. But for y'all in California, check out Outdoor Afro, Miss Rue Map. I mean, she's like the
Mm-hmm.
OG, like of OGs
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to this. And like, she really showed me what's possible and what you can do. So I'd be remiss to not bring her up. And there's
Mm.
opportunities out there everywhere, but don't get into that analysis paralysis. You don't have to have the most expensive gear. Get what you can afford and just try it. Try it, fail, learn, try again. That's what I would say.
Words of wisdom that can be applied honestly to anything. So thank you so much for honestly, even though this has been a part of your lifestyle since as far back as you can remember, it sounds like, but I appreciate your willingness to be open and welcoming. We need more of that. And it's funny because when I have heard people say, "Oh, I don't usually see people who look like you doing whatever insert activity," I always say, "Well, questioning why I'm here, question why you hadn't seen someone in these spaces frequently, right?" And oftentimes it's because there have been barriers, whether it's financial, whether it has to do with certain groups or unsafe, feeling unsafe to be able to do certain activities, whatever it is. Oftentimes, yeah, these new activities feel one, it's intimidating because you don't have the knowledge or experience, but two, it always takes somebody. I mean, everyone remembers their first time trying something new, and what made that something that you felt comfortable to continue to practice and try more at, or get better at, is having somebody who is patient with you and willing to explain things. So I really appreciate you, and thanks for the shout outs that you gave to other folks who are doing the good work. I did not know there was a Black Hunters Association, so that's cool. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go check that out,
Yeah, Hunters of
even just for
Color,
myself.
Kinfolk Collective, it's a few of
Hunters of
them
color.
out there. Yeah, I mean like Brandon, he's a doctor. And you said in the pre-show y'all were in New York City. I was going to tell you this. He's the only licensed guide in Central Park. You can go fly fishing in Central Park. And he's black. It's called Carpenter Park, NYC, and he's a doctor. He just graduated. He
Wow,
got his first residency. It's called Carpenter Park, New York City. You can go fly
that's
fishing with him. He'll teach you how to
cool.
do it right there in the park. And again, his
That's
name is
so
Brandon Dale,
cool.
right there in New York City. So like when you say you was in the
Wow.
concrete jungle, there's just a little sanctuary in there that
Exactly. Wow. You are a wealth of knowledge. Thank you.
oh, no
Um,
problem at all. Like I said, it's never about me. I just want to tell the stories and get the recognition out there. Because I mean, like, there's a guy called We Do This Too Outdoors in Kentucky, and then the Hunters of Color ambassador over there, his name is Kenton Bottoms, and they do a lot of good work together in that region. I mean, this is everywhere, literally everywhere, and the internet has allowed me to connect with these people. So without the technology, I mean, even us, like I said, like I
honestly, yeah.
literally was just, I told you I border ski or whatever, but I've always had the curiosity and wanted to try snowboarding because one, I like doing difficult stuff or whatever. But so I was just browsing, and then you page popped up. I said, "Wait a minute." When I started going down the rabbit hole, like I said, I clicked it so fast because like what you're saying about me, like your platform did for me. Like when you had that interview, looked at the ski lodge, the lift is going in the background, and y'all was just sitting there talking. I'm like, man, this is dope. You know what I mean? So like your platform does the same thing for me. And like the outdoor space has so many different avenues, whether you like to canoe, whether you like to do whatever it is, like there's
Yeah.
something for everybody out here. And most of it is free access. Like public land in these states, you could literally pull up, have a license and go. Even if you're a bird watcher, you like birding, for example, there's permits that you can
Hmm.
get to utilize that public land for like less than $10 in most cases. And you can just go out there and bird and do whatever you want. Camp
Yep.
what have you. So you don't have to just be a hunter.
Exactly. Or doing these extreme sports, you can
Nope.
literally just go for a walk.
Yeah.
That's how I got into birding, is that I happened to start noticing birds as I was out hiking. And then also having lived in the mountains for so long, I'm noticing the different migratory birds and how there's different species that I'm exposed to depending on the season. So it's something that just kind of came along, but I can do it right outside my back door. I mean, it's been really nice, or I can do it while I'm out in the backcountry hiking. So thank you, and thank you for saying that about my channel and Black and Wild, because that's definitely, we're kindred spirits in the sense of how we really want to make the activities that we participate in feel welcoming for everybody. And you know what I am was kind of gathering from just the way that you speak about hunting and even just your upbringing, your own experience, is that you gain so much from it, and that it really seems like it brings you a sense of peace, of happiness, fulfillment, while also challenges you in the ways that are healthy challenges, right? While also pushing you to progress, to be a better version of yourself. And that's a lot of why I participate in the activities I do, is because I get a lot of those feelings. And for this channel, I want everyone to feel that way. I want everyone to find whatever their thing is, especially if it's something that they hear about that excites them or that they're curious about. Like you were saying with snow sports, like, why not just try it? Who knows, that could be your thing, that maybe is where you're able to find your why, and that brings you joy. And then who knows where that can take you. I do have a question for you. That's, you kind of touched on this earlier, and I was wondering if we can circle back to this. You were touching on, you've mentioned conservation multiple times. You've talked about public lands and how there's kind of been this, and I've heard this a lot too, especially having worked as a park ranger and worked in, areas where I'm either living and or recreating on public lands or working on public lands, where folks have made comments about hunters. And especially as soon as fishing season starts here, there's a large fly fishing community. There have been some negative connotations about folks who participate in hunting. And like you said earlier, you kind of touched on this, is that there's also this assumption that people who hunt are not conservationists. And I was wondering, can you touch on that a little bit further? Because it almost sounds, the way you were describing how there are these regulations, there you have to get permits, there are seasons. There's definitely, there are systems in place to try to make sure there are not too much of negative effects on these ecosystems. And so I was wondering, can you elaborate on that a little bit further, Lisa, of what your knowledge is in regards to hunting and conservation? How closely are they related? And can you still be a conservationist if you're a hunter?
I personally, I don't think I know a hunter that's not a conservationist. Personally, I'm sure that exists. Nothing is finite in this world, but I mean, if you just think about the national park systems, I think it was Theodore Roosevelt was a hunter, and they put it
Yeah.
into act to preserve these places way back then for generations to come now in the first place. So they've also gone hand in hand. One of my favorite things to hunt, the wild turkey. This is no internet. Bunch of guys back in the 1900s. There was turkeys everywhere, and they hunted them so hard that they noticed that turkeys were almost disappearing on the landscape. So somehow these guys banded together without internet, without government intervention, and said, "Hey, we need to make some changes. We need to make sure that we have turkeys around so we can continue to hunt them." And now the wild turkey has rebounded. It led to the creation of like the National Wild Turkey Federation. This was without internet, just a bunch of guys working together by word of mouth. And these were hunters. And they said, "Hey, we can't just wipe out this resource. Like, if we want to keep enjoying this." And so the hunters worked together with organizations, and they adapted the nets, and they trapped turkeys, and they went and relocated them and put them back in places that they were, just like I touched on with the elk situation earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They put them back in several different states now. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like, but that's not the part that gets told on the media. It's the stuff that the few bad apples that really give us a black eye. And I'm not going to sit here and say that some of the connotations about us aren't well earned, because sometimes they are. That's just the fact of it. Not everybody is like myself and the people that I associate with, and that's
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate. I wish that they were. But the truth is that they're not, and that's the stuff that gets depressed. So that's why it's all the more important to do the good work, and leave these places better than we found them. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
cannot stand littering. I always take a trash bag or something with me. Like, not to say I'm better than anybody or nothing like that, but I just don't do it. I don't like it. I can't stand people throwing their trash on the ground, and y'all need to be ashamed of yourselves, and you should really like do better, because that's how we lose
Mm-hmm.
access to these places. And you see senators like Mike Lee from Utah, every chance he get, he's trying to introduce a bill in the Congress to sell off a bunch of public lands out west. that recently just happened. But backcountry hunters and anglers and a couple of other outdoors groups, they put together a map. It was like some millions of acres that we would have lost in the West. And I'm talking about natural parks for recreation, not just hunting. But you know who was really leading the charge? I mean, hunters sent people to DC, was campaigning. We wrote letters. We called our senators. Like we do that type of stuff. Myself, my friends, like I'm pretty sure Ted Cruz and John Cornyn are tired of seeing my name come across their email box. Oh, what does he want now about public lands? You know what I mean? Like my inbox is full of that stuff. And that's why I have no problem
Mm,
supporting organizations like that I mentioned earlier, National Wild Turkey Federation, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, even the Mule Deer Foundation. There's so many that are doing the work to protect the habitat, but we are conservationists first because if we don't protect the environment and these habitats and the resources, we won't have anything left to hunt. So maybe we're doing it for selfish reasons, but the work is
yeah.
still being done.
Thank you. Thanks for touching on that because, yeah, I think a lot of hunters, especially there's a large, big part of the summer tourism consists of fishermen here where I live. And yeah, there's definitely folks who are leaving their fishing lines on the shores of the rivers, the creeks, the lakes. There are times that I've seen, hooks laying around on the ground, etc. So unfortunately, stereotypes exist for a reason. There's truth because there's truth in them. But thank you for sharing that that's not the only story. That's not the only type of folks who participate in those activities.
No, those people are just lazy. It wouldn't matter if they hunted, no matter what they do, they would just do the
Yeah.
bare minimum. It don't matter what it is. Because especially fishing, the little white containers that are made out of PVC pipe with the opening,
Mm-hmm.
they're
Yep.
right there to put the fishing line in and it gets recycled. I mean, dude, you could have took an extra 3 steps and just done that. That's just a lazy person. And they just happen to be a fisherman, so we get the black eye from it. But it's bad people in every single thing out there.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Well, a thought crossed my mind, and I was wondering, you're really focusing on in regards to equalized outdoors. You guys are trying to bring awareness to different stories, making sure that these activities, that these areas are more accessible. Are there any voices that you feel are missing in regards to the hunting world, whether whatever type of hunting it is? You had mentioned, you're not seeing many people who look like us hunting, or at least it's not advertised as much. But are there any other voices that you're seeing when seeing, women, whatever that is?
I was gonna get right to it. The black women are especially because on TikTok, like there are several. It's so many. Like
Really?
Rail Outdoors in Mississippi. And then you go look on Instagram, Rain Outdoors and her husband Jason. Like they've got a partnership with I believe Real Tree out, which is an outdoors company that makes camouflage. Real Tree would be
Mm,
like Nike, and then there's a company called Mossy Oak. Think of them like Adidas, like two of the biggest names out there. But
okay.
like she has a coloring book that's available on Amazon. I bought it for my kids and gave it to them as gifts that teaches kids like, hey, this is an elk, this is a moose, this is a bear, this is this type of flowers, and it's interactive activities. That coloring book's available on Amazon right now. And so there's just the dimmer that we need more of that for sure. And not even just hunters, but like women like yourself as well. I mean, because like I said, Rue Mapp, I mean, she's the pioneer. Like she's really like knocked it out the park with outdoor afro. And it's not the only one, but I would love to see more of it and for that to be louder. And then I would just love to challenge my fellas, my men. When you see these women, support it. Just like you would want somebody to support you because we need to be allies and like we are all in this together. Just band arms together and actually support them. Because like at that, I keep mentioning NWTF, but it's not our demographic per se, but the way that they reacted to the women there because they had on like Lululemon leggings or something. And we was like,
Mm,
so what? Like they're making
yeah,
good
right.
content and they're out here hunting and they're spreading the good news for turkey hunting. Support them. So it's because you think they're attractive? Do you think they're just supposed to like well, this ain't the
Mm,
19 whatever no more, my guy? Like get with it or get
mm,
lost. So like when we see these women, support and uplift them. And it's nothing wrong with supporting other people, period. But we really got to support each other and uplift them so they can have women can have a voice too. Like there's no need for women to lag behind in 2026. Like we all need to be pulling and tugging equally. That's what I would say, especially as a father with a daughter. Like that's the voice that so she can see somebody that looks like her on TV. That's what I would want.
Preach. Thank you. Uh, well, one last question I have for you before we wrap things up is if there's anything that you could do in your dream world or scenario to make some positive changes in the outdoors, what would you like to see? Or what would you do to make those changes happen?
I would like to have I would like to have like I don't want to call it Wakanda, but yeah, let's use that as an example. We pick a state, bunch of people with resources, and we buy a bunch of land. We have a place where people can gather. We can teach these skills in a safe place. People can enjoy themselves. And I'm not even just talking about to make a profit or make money from, because we recruit hunters. It would be nice to have somewhere to take them. People can go unwind. We can teach these skills. We can have these clinics, and we can just all band together, and that will protect it from being harvested for timber for being sold off in the future, and we'll have a place for generations to come, and that we can all utilize in some way, shape, or form. I want to get back to land ownership so we can have it and pass
Mhm.
this down to the next generations and be able to share this from time and time and time. And I really just want to see it to keep going because we all have channels, we have these podcasts. Now let's go ahead and get to the next step and let's have a physical place, a physical presence where we can celebrate each other, uplift each other, and enjoy these activities together.
Yeah. Why do you want to see that? What would you say are the benefits? I earlier I felt like I spoke for you from what I was gathering that hunting has given to you, but why is that something that you want to share with more people?
You pretty much hit it on the head too. I mean, because like I said, when I kind of brushed over it, but like I can't explain to people like when you know what you're doing every day, like when you go from being a soldier in the army and then it's like you doing it and then the next day you don't have that no more. It's like what am I going to do now? And it was like I was in IT, but it didn't make me happy. Like the money was good, but I call them the golden handcuffs and I'm so glad I got rid of them. But like it provides positive mental health. Anybody that's struggling, just being outside, it's like yeah, I mean, it saved me from like a dark spiral. Like it could have went such a different way if I didn't have this to fall back on. Like I literally threw myself into it. Like, especially after like COVID hit, and then they eliminated
Mhm.
opposition. So it was like, okay, now really, what am I going to do? And that's really when it started to ramp up, and got into what it is today. But you're absolutely right. But the reason why I want to see that is just because like it's the benefits, and I know what it's like to be browsing and say you want to go on a hunt, you want to go do a guided trip, you want to go do this, but then all you see, where are the black outfitters? Where are the outfitters? I can't even find them. Like, I can't find one. I just want people to have that safe space because that's what I grew up with. That camaraderie. Like, even if you don't come for
Yeah.
the hunt, like I spoke about, that might have been in pre-show. Like at the clubhouse, like that togetherness. Like that's what we as a culture and a people we were always been like a unit, a village. They tell you all the time, you hear
Mhm.
that it takes a village of us. And that's really what it's about for me. And I just wish everybody could experience and enjoy that. Whether you just want to take a hike, you want to do this, you don't have to be a hunter, you don't have to fish, but I want you to have your own version of Shangri-La, if you will. Like it's because the health benefits and just I'm having a bad day. It's probably because I'm not fishing and I'm not hunting. I ain't never had a bad day on the river, whether I caught a fish or not. I ain't never had a bad day
Mhm.
in the woods. I never had a bad walk through the woods. I ain't never just whatever's going on. It's just like cooking for me. Like it's therapeutic. I'm focused on what I'm doing. I'm putting all my stuff into that. Whatever little troubles and problem I have, they don't exist no more. And I just think the mental health benefits and stuff that come along with it, and even the physical health benefits, right? Like I'm not in the greatest shape at the moment, but like eventually, like you will be, like some of the stuff we do, you're just gonna feel better. And everybody deserves to feel good about themselves and just have something that they're passionate about and have an outlet. I feel like everybody deserves that.
Exactly. That makes me really happy. That's why I do what I do. It's why I just I relate so much to what you're saying, and that's a big part of why I've chosen the career path I've chosen, and really try to make sure that one, even though I don't always see myself represented, I appreciate you, and you, like I said earlier, you really remind me of that. And you come from very different backgrounds, but regardless of that, there's this commonality that I'm seeing, I'm hearing, I'm feeling, as far as even though we are participating in very different activities, I feel like we're kindred spirits, and we're doing what we're doing for similar reasons. So I just want to say I appreciate you and thank you so much for sharing your story. Before I officially let you go, is there anything else that you would like to add that I didn't get to ask you about, or that you didn't get to share about Equalized Outdoors, or your experience, or your hopes for the future?
No, I think you did a really, really good job. I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to share the story. And I just hope, if people heard anything that they may be curious about, that you'll just come and see us, give us a try, take a look and see. And hopefully you stick around for a little while.
Justin, thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks for doing what you're doing. It was the feeling was mutual when I started following your channel too. And I was like, I don't even participate in any of these activities. However, this content is entertaining, it's informative, and it's definitely just making me remind myself that it reminds me that although someone else might be having a different experience than my own, there are still things that I can learn from that, and just to broaden my horizons, build my community out, because it's only going to make me a better person. So I can't wait for when we link up live in person in real life,
I
because
cannot
I'm
wait either. I'm
excited.
really, really looking forward to
We're
it.
we're gonna do this, Justin. We're gonna
Oh no,
make this
we are,
happen.
because like you said, we're gonna trade one, and
We're gonna
I'm go and I,
trade.
we're gonna film it. So
Yes, yes,
it's yes,
it's
this is
coming.
gonna happen. We'll talk about the details about it, but we're
Yeah.
gonna get this together and do this.
No, I'm serious. I'm gonna hold you to this.
I'm dead
Um,
serious too. Like, don't cut this out. I'm a man of
no,
my
this is
word, so
we're gonna make sure it's being pushed publicly so that other people can hold us accountable as well.
exactly. Yes, yes, indeed.
Well, thank you again for everything that you're doing. Thank you for who you are, for existing, for being Justin, and all of your glory. You're awesome. And really, I really can't express it enough. So thank you for being on and being so transparent, while also being willing to share the knowledge that you have gained with all of us. I wish you the best of luck with Equalize Outdoors. I look forward to finding how we can collaborate in the future to continue to make sure that representation is at the forefront of our activities, while also making sure that these spaces continue to feel welcoming for everybody. I always joke that public lands, it's called public lands for a reason, because there are places for all of us to enjoy. We
Exactly.
all pay taxes for these places to exist, and it doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you're just getting out there. And no matter what, you're going to feel good. Like you said, I can't think of a bad day I've had either, just being outside, honestly. Even on the days where the weather is horrible, whatever it is, at the end, do not have an experience I've looked back on negatively. So
Yeah, I
I hear
can't
you
think
and
of
I
a
can
time I'm like,
relate.
man, I'm like, man,
Yeah.
catching that fish really sucked. I wish I didn't do that. Nope. Can't think of a time like that.
Exactly. Awesome.
Justin, thank you so much for being a guest on Black and Wild. This was such a fun and thought provoking conversation to be a part of. I'm so excited about our plans to collaborate in the future. Can't wait to see what we both get up to. So, for those listening, stay tuned for some content coming out from us in hopefully the near future. But really, I'm appreciative of the way that you patiently and humbly share your story and information on hunting. Equalize Outdoors is really such a great platform to help connect anybody, whether it's a person who is already an avid hunter or someone who has dabbled in it, even to people who are curious about how to begin fishing or any other form of hunting. Thank you for the content that you create and the way that you make it so easily digestible for anybody. Also, entertaining as well. Well, for those listening, if you want to get more content and hear more from Mr.JayCam of Equalized Outdoors, be sure to follow him on Instagram at Equalized Outdoors. And you can also check out their website, equalizedoutdoors.com, where you will find anything from how to cook meat that you procure while hunting to any hunting regulations and updates that are going on right now, and being connected with maybe other groups that are involved in guiding trips where you can obtain some more information and all of the above. So be sure to check out his content. Other than that, thank you so much for checking out this episode. Don't forget to visit blackandwild.com for all things Black and Wild and stay connected with our community on all social medias. I will see you next time for an awesome episode. I've got some really great episodes coming up. Be sure to stay tuned. I'll have a new episode out in 2 weeks. I've been dropping episodes bi-weekly, and I have some more content coming up with stories that I still have yet to represent on this platform. So you won't want to miss what's coming up. I hope you all take care of yourselves. Be sure you're filling your own cup and focusing on your mental health. Get outside, get some vitamin D. I promise, just like Justin said, you will not regret a moment that you spend outside. Until next time, thanks.